But in a tea estate, unlike other business, we have this social responsibility also. Now that is absolutely different from any other industry. This industry is not for everybody. Tomorrow you buy a business, you buy a shop, you are just buying the business. Uh, you can you can sack the employees who were there, bring in your own employees, and you run your business. But when you buy a tea estate, you're not just buying the tea estate, you're taking responsibility of those 1,000, 1,500 people minimum who are staying there.
Recently, we have notified tech clash or a concern, major concern between the tea farmers or small tea planters or growers and between the government or the government also launched or introduced a new ban. So, what do you say all the overview?
So I'm glad you brought this up because this is very important for this state. So when the concept of small tea plantation started, especially in Upper Assam, it was like a green revolution. So what happened in certain places? Again, the question of healthy tea comes in. Usage of pesticide. So it happens. It happened even in estates, not only the small growers sector. There were unabated use of pesticides. The most important part is the auction is a transparent system. Now, the price which the small grower gets, he's a planter, it's a small planter. So he's putting in his labor, he's putting in chemicals, this, that, and he's plucking leaf and he's selling. So he has a cost, right? He has a cost. So that cost has to be met plus profit.
Hello, viewers. This is your host Jyotishman Sharma, and welcome to another episode in Business Notice. And of course, today our special guest is being with us, and he is the chairman of Assamtea, and of course, Samudra Prasad Baruva ji. So, first of all, welcome to our channel, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, it's really a pleasure that you have given us your valuable time. And of course, today the conversation will be about completely tea sector in Assam.
Yes, absolutely. It is important that the people of this country understands the industry because there is an image which may not be right. So, and tea being the most commonly used beverage after water in this country, it is an important industry definitely, and also the employment it creates is one of the largest employer as an industry in the entire country. So yes, please, it would be nice to answer some questions. Yes.
So let's start from the beginning. Let's start about your entrepreneurship journey.
Oh, it started. I come from a family of tea planters. My great grandfather, late Radhika Prasad Baruva, he planted Bhuyakhat Tea Estate pre independence. Then my grandfather, late Giti Kobi Parpuri Prasad Baruva, he took over the mantle. Then he purchased Sonari, Ogrijan. He planted Raidang Tea Estate. After that, my father, and then Manoviram Baruva, late Manoviram Baruva. And now the mantle has come on to me. So, as an entrepreneur, I'm a fourth generation tea planter. My personal journey started in 1998, uh, where I started a export company to export tea from Guwahati, from India. And we, at that time, we managed to capture markets in CIS, US, UK. Subsequently, we also started a packet tea, uh, and now obviously we are concentrating more on the plantation.
So, as we know that ATPA or Assam Tea Plantation Association is there. So, what is ATPA and when it has been formed?
Yes, ATPA is the second oldest tea association in the country. It was formed in 1935, pre-independence, mainly to safeguard the interests of the indigenous planters. As you know, the Britishers introduced tea in this country, and initially most of the plantation sector was in sterling hands, British hands. They had the association called ITA, Indian Tea Association. And then ATPA was formed specifically to safeguard the indigenous planters, the Indian planters, in the year 1935. And we have followed that mandate till today. Mm, all our members, even today, are indigenous to the state, as in they are all based out of Assam. So there is always this, this thing keeps on coming up that all the tea companies, they have their offices in Calcutta and they're taking away the money from the state. But ATPA, all our members, we have over 150 members, tea estates, we are all based out of Assam. So that is something which is very unique about ATPA. And since we are solely and heartily joined to this soil, so our concerns when it comes to the industry is a bit more wide, because we also think about the place, our state, Assam. It is not only about the industry, because we are co-joined since we are all from here. So that is about Assam Tea Planters Association.
So, till now, how many tea gardens or tea estates is being affiliated with ATPA?
We have over 150 members, and they're all tea estates. Our charter mandates that it is necessary that there should be a tea plantation. So there are many standalone factories called bottling factories, so they cannot be our member. So when you talk about plantation, uh, the the understanding changes a lot, because a plantation involves employment of many people, whereas a standalone bottling factory is just a factory. So the concerns are very different for the sustenance of the, of a plantation and sustenance of a factory. The concerns are totally different. So ATPA, since all our members are plantation owners, so our concerns are very different from just a bottling factory. So that is the main thing for that.
So, as the chairman of ATPA, what kind of challenges you are facing till now?
The main challenge is that the industry is going through a very difficult time. And it has happened primarily because prices have been by and large stagnant over the years. There might have been an exception during COVID time because there was a shortage of production, or this year, but by and large, prices have been stagnant, whereas the cost has risen tremendously. Uh, with a CAGR 21% rise in cost in the last maybe 7, 8 years, the prices have risen only by around 7% if we see till last year. So that is challenging, because the cost of input is rising, but the price realization of tea is stagnant. And that is a huge challenge. And as chairman ATPA, we are, and along with other sister associations, obviously, we are trying to find a way how to make the industry viable by getting a better price realization. Yes.
What do you want to say about the Indian government or Assam government vital role in tea industry?
Absolutely. The current government, we are very lucky actually, the current government, particularly the Honorable Chief Minister of the state, he has a very deep understanding of the problems that the industry is facing. And we have had many meetings with him, and he has always sought to find a way to help the industry. He understands the problem of rising costs. He understands the problem that the prices are not rising. And I'll give you a few instances where the current government has tried to make a cost of production more lower it. He gave us a holiday on cess on green leaf, which we used to pay. Then he gave us a holiday on agricultural income tax also. And then the state government has introduced a subsidy scheme, where one is for its interest subvention is also there if you take a loan of 3%. Then for manufacturing orthodox, it was 10, then 12 rupees. So yes, our state government, we are lucky because they listen, they understand the problems, and together we are trying to get out of this morass that the industry is in. Yes. And 2 days back, even the Commerce Minister, Honorable Piyush Goyal ji, also came to understand firsthand the problems and to take the feedback from the stakeholders of the industry, wherein representations were given by planters associations, bought leaf manufacturers, uh, buyers, brokers, so that and that is a very positive step because he understands that the industry is going through a difficult time. So he came down to Assam, he came down to Guwahati, and he interacted with us so that he has a first-hand understanding of the problem. And yes, and he has come up with some very fruitful suggestions, which uh, in the near future might help the industry.
So, Assam government has taken an initiative.
Yes.
The heritage tea states.
Yes.
We do have vast number of heritage tea states in Assam.
Yes.
So they're going to develop the tea tourism.
Yes.
So what do you want to say about tea tourism sector?
That again is very welcome because it adds, see, a prime source of income of a tea estate is by selling tea. Right? Uh, because of the rising costs and all, it is not enough, maybe to sustain just by selling tea. So this will be a parallel source of revenue for the tea estates. Second, it obviously brings Assam closer to the world map. We expect tourists from even outside the country to come and enjoy the tea life because it's a beautiful life and you're surrounded by greenery, you know, and it is agricultural based, it is non-polluting, and and there are many heritage bungalows which were constructed pre-independence, beautiful places. Uh, some are falling into disrepair because maintenance is high, but with this parallel stream of revenue, it will help the tea estates also, and we will be able to preserve our legacy with that money. And it is very welcome. Obviously, it will take time, but it is a step in the right direction. And here I must say, it is not only that they are just helping, they are giving us direct grants. Obviously, there is a cap, but up to 50% of the cost of converting these heritage bungalows into resorts or homestays, the government, through Assam Tourism Development Corporation, is giving us grants so that we can build up that infrastructure. And this is, it's a very unique thought because I do not think any government has supported the industry like this by giving an industry or individual estates grants so that we can build our infrastructure. Yes.
Do you think that Assam tea or Darjeeling tea or India's tea is surviving in international market?
There are challenges. There are challenges. You have to understand there are two kinds of teas. One is the orthodox tea and one is the CTC tea. CTC tea is the grainy tea which we have normally, which we consume in India. Now for CTC tea, the domestic consumption is very high, but also it is stagnant. Over the years, the consumption of tea has not risen the way we expected it to, but production has risen. Uh, and orthodox tea, the market is mainly outside India. Now, what has happened over the years because Indian tea has become more expensive, uh, other players have entered those international markets. Traditionally, let's say the Middle East market, that was the market for Indian Orthodox tea. Sri Lanka has made headway into that. Kenya has taken over our market in UK, which was traditionally a market for Assam tea, because obviously the cost is lower there. So these are the challenges we are facing in competing with other tea producing countries is our because it's more expensive to make teas in India. That is a major challenge. Even so, the government is trying to promote Indian tea. The associations, the trade bodies, the Exporters Association, Tea Exporters Association, we are all trying to promote Indian tea in the foreign market. And one of the ways of going forward in that is we are trying to send across a message that Indian tea is safe to drink. Being an agro-based product, you do understand that chemicals are used for fertilization, for pest control, and for other things also. Uh, so last year, an exercise was made where was done under Tea Board, obviously, wherein we made an attempt to map the pesticide residue in Indian tea. So first, we have to know where the problem is to solve it. So this has started this year, and yes. So when we compete outside, what are the things? Obviously, it has to be price sensitive, competitive with other products. Second is safety. You're giving a better product. It is safe for human use. There is no harmful pesticide. You need to convey all that. So whatever the industry is doing right now is to convey that Indian tea is safe, Indian tea is better than others, and obviously it is a medium-term thing. It is not that we can immediately expect exports to jump. But yes, steps are being taken, and they are being taken in the right direction. Yes.
So these states' laborers or workers are still complaining about the road brokerages, complaining about the health benefit has been reduced. So what do you say? Why this development has been reduced nowadays?
Uh, when it comes to the workers of a tea estate, uh, the problem is very complex. Uh, it doesn't only have to do with what the estate is paying, whether it's we are they getting paid less or more, because obviously now the Minimum Wages Act will come in once it's notified, and then it will be as per the Minimum Wages Act. Now, currently what we are giving is actually above the minimum wage, as has been prescribed now. We are giving them a living wage. The government has come up with many schemes, especially related to sanitation, hygiene, healthcare, to support the industry. Uh, in fact, under NHM, they have provided us with free medicines, ambulances. Now, currently, they'll be helping some tea estate. They have earmarked, I think, 184 estate hospitals where the government will contribute in infrastructure development. So all this goes for the healthcare of the workers. Sanitation issues under Swachh Bharat, toilets were made. So a lot of development has happened, but you have to understand the tea estate management, what is the prime role of the management is to manage the tea estate and earn profits, like in any business. But in a tea estate, unlike other business, we have this social responsibility also. Now that is absolutely different from any other industry, because this huge social responsibility is there. That is why this industry is not for everybody. Tomorrow you buy a business, you buy a shop, you're just buying the business. Uh, you can you can sack the employees who were there, bring in your own employees, and you run your business. But when you buy a tea estate, you're not just buying the tea estate, you're taking responsibility of those 1,000, 1,500 people minimum who are staying there. Even in a medium-sized tea estate, there are around more than 1,000 residents within the tea estate who are dependent on the tea estate. In larger estates, it's obviously it's much more, it's 10,000, 20,000. You see, so it is very different. It's not like any other business. There's a social factor to it. There's a monetary factor and a social factor. So, as I said, it is also the responsibility partly of the management to educate the workers, the government also, and also this participation we have not seen non-governmental organizations. Even among the tea community, there are a lot of NGOs, non-governmental organizations, but their participation is lacking. I mean, as would have been desired.
Thank you so much. And also, I would like to bring you notice that almost 665 crore. This is a budget, especially for the tea state developments or tea kind of tea sector, schemes and all like. So, as a chairperson of ATPA, what do you want to say that to use all this
No,
budgeted
the government, the 664 crores which has been allocated, uh, it has been very clearly allocated for two, three. One is to promote primarily in the estate level the manufacture of orthodox tea. Uh, so there are subsidies for setting up nurseries, even for small growers, or planting those varieties which can make orthodox tea. So there are subsidies there. Then there is one portion of the subsidy which is very important that will go for marketing of Indian tea in India and abroad. So one is to encourage orthodox production and the other is to market this thing. So in the document which is there, which has been issued by Tea Board, it is very clearly demarcated. It's welcome. It's like obviously any help is good, and this definitely will help us because one of the problems we are not, one of the reasons why we are not getting the price which we desire is because of overproduction of CTC tea. So if part of that production can be veered towards orthodox production, then there will be some kind of balance, hopefully, between demand and supply, which will see a better price realization for CTCT. It is welcome, but yes, more needs to be done. Uh, our chief minister understands, and he has been fighting for the for funding for the Tea Research Association. And even the Honorable Minister for Commerce and Industry in the meeting 2 days back, he also emphasized and he is planning to bring in corporate CSR funding to help. Because to sustain in the long run, the industry needs research. So we have to be scientific in our temperament, and for that research is necessary. So that is one place where we do need a lot of government help. And the other is obviously the generic promotion of tea as a health drink, not only within India, also all over the world. There we do need the government's help, and they have allocated funds out of the 664 crores. Uh, yes, but it is welcome, but more needs to be done. More needs to be done. Yes.
Thank you so much. And the last question I do have for you. Recently, we have notified tech clash or a concern, major concern between the tea farmers or like small tea planters or growers and between the government or the association. And the thing is like the tea, which they used to sold it earlier directly to the tea. So now it will be in the auction. And recently, government also launched or introduced a new van. So what do you say all the overview?
So I'm glad you brought this up because this is very important for this state. So when the concept of small tea plantation started, especially in Upper Assam, it was like a green revolution. You know, like what you had in Punjab, because it's a cash crop. Tea is a cash crop. So people who had paddy fields or kitchen gardens, they started converting it into mini tea estates and supplying to factories or estates or estates were factories or standalone factories. But what happened again is that now that is where the industry, uh, I will not call it a mistake, but we didn't have the foresight to do it. Number one was the unabated growth of this sector. And secondly, the training which was required to scientifically grow tea, that was not imparted to the small growers. So what happened in certain places, now again the question of healthy tea comes in, usage of pesticide. So it happened even in estates, not only the small growers sector, there were unabated use of pesticides. Some of those pesticides harmful to humans and even to the environment. Uh, so that started creating problems because now with WTO and our tea is getting exported to other countries. If we want that market and There's something called a maximum residue level. If your pesticide is more than that, every country has its own MRL. Then obviously your teas will be rejected. Even within India, if it is above what has been laid down by FSSAI, that this chemical, this is the maximum residue level, if it's more, that means it's harmful for humans because tea is it's a food product, like we consume it. So now with the stricter regime, so this entire, like I said earlier, this year this entire thing of selling teas through auction was to map this problem. One of the reasons was to map the problem. Where are we facing a problem of this pesticide residue more than the allowed level? So one was to map it. Uh, Second was the most important part is the auction is a transparent system. Now the price which the small grower gets, he's a planter, it's a small planter. So he's putting in his labor, he's putting in chemicals, this, that, and he's plucking leaf and he's selling. So he has a cost, right? He has a cost. So that cost has to be met plus profit. Yes. But the prices which a tea estate or a factory gives to them depends on how much price that factory is getting also because he cannot buy it. He cannot make a loss. If he's not getting a good price, he will pay them less. Right? So that is why ATPA has advocated strongly for 100% auction. The auction is transparent, so the small grower also knows exactly if he's supplying to XYZ factory, he knows what XYZ's price is, what price he's selling. So he can demand a fair price for his own product, which he's selling to that. Right. And then it also helps in quality augmentation. Then he will know that, okay, this factory or this, he's not getting a good price. Why? Because the raw material is bad, which I'm supplying.
I would like to ask you one question. Is there any chances of damages of tea plants on the time? Like it's going to be delay to reach on the auction. So is there any chances of damages?
No. If it's properly packed, tea, if it's properly packed and stored, there is no question of damage, at least for a year. It's a hygroscopic substance. It takes in moisture, so it has to be packed properly and stored properly. Yes, the problem is green leaf. The raw material is green leaf for tea. Now that has a shelf life. You cannot pluck it today and sell it after 5 days. It will rot. So there is a this thing that it has to be done immediately within 24 hours, preferably within 18 hours. For the ideal situation would be within 18 hours of plucking, it should be manufactured and converted to black tea. Uh, but the problem with the small growers is they are not getting a fair price, which they also feel they're getting less than the cost of production, and that is why ATP has advocated that it should be through the auction. All made tea should be sold through the auction. Prices are transparent. The small grower knows exactly the person I'm supplying to at what cost he's selling the tea. Right? So he knows that if he's selling at this much, he can give me so much. And plus, if that so-called factory is not getting a good price, that means then again the small grower knows that the leaf I'm supplying to him is bad. So I have to, if I want a better price, I have to improve my quality of leaf. So that works, and that's why the auction is a transparent system, and we have been advocating. If somebody sells privately, not through the auction, now that price stays between the seller and the buyer. It is not public knowledge, right? So the small grower also doesn't know what exactly. If the small grower is selling me his green leaf, I'm making tea and selling it. If he doesn't know at what price I'm selling, he has to take whatever I'm giving him. But if he knows that yes, Mr. Baruva's tea is selling at so much, so he should give me more, then he can demand for that fair price. So that is why I feel this entire problem of small growers not getting the right price, it will be solved if the sale is transparent. And the only way to make it transparent is through 100% auction. Right now, the auction system is not robust enough maybe to manage all the teas through the auction, but a committee has been set up and they've given the recommendation on how to make the system, auction system more efficient and more robust. And as and when the time comes, it would be beneficial if the entire sale of tea moves to the auction platform. And the other benefit being of that is even all the demand which is there will be channelized only through this one platform. So obviously there will be more competition. Instead of scattered demand that somebody is buying privately, some in the auction, it's scattered. But then if all the demand is also channelized through one platform, competition also rises, your price realization hopefully will become better. And it's a public auction system where there is strict monitoring. So obviously your teas, when you're offering to the auction system, will be compliant because there's no escaping it. It is on the public domain. Your quality will be better because it's on a public auction. But if I'm making something and selling it to somebody, there is no control on what I'm making. Whether it is safe, whether it is not safe, whether it is of good quality, bad quality, it's between me and him, right? So there is no monitoring, there is no control. So that is why we have been strongly advocating that yes, 100% dust has already, last year we started with this, and slowly we should move towards an auction system. Any transparent system, be it auction or whatever, but it should be transparent. And right now, the only platform which is transparent is the auction system. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Baruvaji, and really it's been a very good interview just because people got to know about the problem of Assam tea and especially in international market. So thank you so much for bringing this to our notice.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.